Thanks, Cathaoirleach. The literature on the effects of alcohol on driving is very extensive and very consistent. Alcohol in almost any amount impairs driving or driving-related skills, and statistics show that alcohol plays a contributory role in 1 out of every 3 fatal road accidents. And all of the available evidence from research indicates that reducing the legal limit of blood alcohol concentration to 0.5 will reduce the incidence of road collisions and consequently will save lives and prevent serious injuries. The lower limit is also consistent with the best practice in many European countries. And when the relevant sections of the Road Traffic Act are commenced in October of this year, the limits will change the permissible blood alcohol concentration limits by providing for a reduction from 80 milligrams of alcohol to 20 milligrams of alcohol for learners, for novices and professional drivers, and a reduction from 80 milligrams of alcohol to 50 milligrams for all other drivers. And the equivalent levels in urine and breath testing will also apply. I think drinking and driving is never acceptable. I find it particularly abhorrent that some individuals would still see it fit to get behind the wheel of a car immediately after consuming alcohol. In fact, it was brought to my attention recently by a constituent in Raheny that she had recently had an encounter with a person who was clearly drunk and not fit to drive, to the point where the person who was drunk, when trying to get into the car, twice slammed her car door against the car of my constituent without knowing it, before driving off erratically. Needless to say, the Gardaí were immediately called by my constituent and they responded immediately. I believe also, Cathaoirleach, that people who are considering driving, considering whether to drive the morning after the night before, need to be very, very careful to the point of not driving at all. If they have a hangover, the chances are that they are not fit to drive and should either get a lift or use public transport. And if none of these options are available, I recommend that they should stay at home. It's better to postpone or to be late for work or for an appointment than to get behind the wheel of a car and risk their own life and the lives of others. And while it may be inconvenient, I think it's better to be safe than to be sorry. The best solution for all drivers is that they should simply refrain from drinking alcohol at all if they are going to be in a position where they will need to drive, where the driving should be undertaken soon after an event where alcohol is available, or for several hours, or the morning after the event. I believe, Cathaoirleach, it's fair to say that consumption of large amounts of alcohol is ingrained into Irish society, and this is a facet of Irish culture that needs to be changed. It is not the done thing in other cultures to go out on the tear or to get locked or whatever the term is applied to a night out for heavy drinking. Instead, the done thing in other countries is to have a glass of wine or a glass of beer, 1 or 2, and leave it at that. I think Irish culture practically makes it a requirement, or in the past particularly made it a requirement to drink alcohol, and that sometimes is a miss for a person who doesn't do so. I would like to put it on the record of this House that it is perfectly acceptable to remain alcohol-free. It is perfectly acceptable to say to friends and to colleagues on social occasions, no, I'm not drinking because I am driving in the near future. It is not acceptable to pressurise somebody else into just having one or to join with the gang. If a person is not drinking, they're not drinking, and that should be the end of it. Attitudes, I think, have changed dramatically over the last decade, and that is very much to be welcomed. In a recent AA survey, 87% of motorists believe driving is shameful. But we've still got to go some distance to reach the remaining 13%, and I hope this legislation does that. I welcome the bill.